So in today's class, we will be learning about introduction to files. So we have already learned about structures and all. So from today onwards, we'll be learning about files concept. Now, what actually a file is and the introduction to the file, why we need to go to the files concept, all these things we are going to learn today. So normally, why we need to go to the files? This is the first question that arises in our mind. So why we need to go to the files concept? Now, what actually this file is? So to make you people understand, see normally whenever you are giving an input through the output screen, let us consider you have compiled your program and you have executed your program, and you will be getting the output screen, and on the output screen you need to enter the data whatever you want to give as your input. Now whatever data you have given, that will be taken by the compiler and it will run your program considering that input, and it will display the output. Now next time if you want to next time if you again run your program, then what happens, whatever entire data you have given as input, that will be lost and it is again asking you to enter the data. Now, what is the problem with this one is, suppose if the data, if the input, whatever you are giving, the input, whatever you are giving is very small, then it is okay for us to give the number of times it is asked, okay for us. Like if you consider addition of two numbers, then it is very easy for us to give as input as two numbers only. But suppose if you have written a program for addition of 100 numbers, let us consider, then each time if you are executing your program, then you need to give 100 numbers as input to perform your task. So what is the first problem that we have faced with our console-oriented IO functions? Console-oriented IO functions are nothing but your scanf and printf functions. Now, if you are using console-oriented scanf, printf, IO functions, then the entire data is lost when the program is terminated. So whatever input you give on your output screen, that will be lost. But if you want to have an option where whatever input you are giving, that should be available, that should be preserved, and whenever the program is executing, and if it wants to take the input, it can simply get the input from there. And such a repository is called as your file. Understand all of you? Now, the file will preserve the data, whatever you want to give to your program. So it will preserve the data even if the program terminates also. With the normal approach, whatever we have learned till now, the complete data will be lost if you are coming out of your program. But data means your input and output. Okay. But if you want to have your input and output to be preserved, even if you come out of your program, then you need to go with your files concept. Right, and one more advantage, one more thing here is, if the input whatever you give is large also, the number of times if you're giving the input will take a lot of time. So what can we do is, whatever input you want to give, that can be stored in the file, and the program, whatever C program we have written, that can easily get the contents from the file, and it preserves our time and it saves our time. So this is one thing. And also if you want to move your input from one or output from one system to another with a normal traditional approach, we can't do that one. So if you are storing your input or output in a file, then the input and output, that means the data can be moved from one computer to another computer without any changes, and it can be done easily. So by considering these advantages, like you want to preserve your data even if the program terminates, and if you want to save your time whenever you're giving your input or output, and also if you want to easily move the data from one computer to another computer, then we can switch to a concept called files concept, where these three problems can be solved by using our files concept. Right? So this is the advantage of files. Now, what actually a file is defined is, a file is defined as a place on your hard disk where some data will be stored. That data can be any data. Got it, all of you? So file is nothing but in your computer memory, you will be storing, you will be occupying some space, and that space will be storing a group of related data. Right? So normally two types of files are there, text files and binary files. So let us learn in detail about these text files and binary files. Now, what do you mean by text files is, as a name itself, it is telling, it is like a normal text file. Like you can easily create these text files by using your Word document or Notepad or simple text editors, whatever we have. So you can type anything in a text file and you can easily create these text files. And if you are using your Notepad, then it will be saved as .txt. If you are using your Word document, then it will be saved as .doc, like that. Understood, all of you? So these files are called as text files, and these files you can see the contents whatever you have in the in this text files, and it will be saved as a plain text. And whatever operations like edit operation, delete operation, or overwriting operation, anything can be easily done on these text files. So whatever operations, edit is nothing but removing or adding new things. Okay, and we can store plain text into this one. Now, the whatever text you have in this text files that are easily readable by the human being, and these are of least security. Why? Because as the data is not in the encrypted format. Encrypted format is nothing but it is not providing that much of security to our data because it can be easily readable. So it provides less security, and also it takes larger storage space also. So this is about your text files. But whereas coming to your binary files are nothing but .bin files. Bin files are nothing but the data will be stored in the forms of binary, and binary form is nothing but ones and zeros combination. Right now, whatever you write in the using the form of binary files, that will be understandable only by the computer, and as we the human beings can't understand that one, so it is not easily readable, and so that it is providing better security than our text files. And also, when compared to the text files, binary files provides higher like it provides or it holds higher amount of data when compared to your text files. Okay, but whatever data you have in the binary file, that is the form of zeros and ones. We already know this one. Whenever you want the computer to understand your program, that should be converted into the machine understandable format. We already learned that one. And whatever file generated in that process, that file is called as a binary file. Okay, so these are the main difference between the text file and binary file. Now, whenever you want to work with your files, normally what we'll do is, because we the human beings can understand only text files, so we will be working with the text files only. Let us not touch the binary files, but we can the same thing whatever we are going to learn in future about the file operations and all, same operations can be applied to binary files. But why I am using only text file? Because we can see the changes whether happening or not, because we can understand the thing that is there in the file if it is a text file. But if it is a binary file, we can't observe the difference also, and we don't understand what is there. Right? So let us learn in detail about the operations that can be performed on text files. We are confining ourselves to text files only. Why? Because I'm repeating once again. Why? Because whatever operations we are doing on the text files, the changes can be known to us if it is a text file. Right? So the operations that can be performed on a text file or a binary file, we can perform four major operations. First one is we need to create a file. Obviously, if you want to store something onto a file, obviously we need to first create a file, and then we need to open an existing file, and then we need to perform our operations, and after performing our operations we need to close our file, and that means this should be the last step, or this is one of the operation, but this should be the last step. First we need to create the file, and then open the file, and then read or write information from the file. Reading is nothing but getting the contents from the file as input to your C program. Writing into the file is nothing but writing the output of our C program into the file. Okay, so putting the data into the file is called as writing. Getting the data from the file is called as a reading. And after our operations are done, we need to close that file. Understood, all of you? So these are the four major operations that we need to do with the file. If it is a text file or binary file, these operations, whatever we are doing, are fixed. Create a file first, and then open that file and then perform your operations, and finally you need to close that file. Now what we'll do is, in today's class we will be learning how to create a file, how to open a file, and how to close the file we'll see. And in the next lecture we'll be learning about how to perform a read operation and write operation on the file. Okay, so let us start with the first one. What is that? Working with the files. Now, whenever you want to work with the file, I already told you, you need to you need to create one file. But before creating any file, you need to declare one file pointer. Now, what is the necessity of declaring one file pointer is, normally we will be working with the addresses of the file pointer. Now, we need to have a communication between the file and the program, right? Ours is a C program and our data is available in a file. Now there should be a communication between the file, our C program, and the file, and that communication can be done through our pointer, and that pointer is of type file, not int data type, not char data type, not float data type. It should be of type file. Now what actually this file is? This file is a structure. This file is a structure, and this structure is defined. It is a predefined structure in stdio.h header file. Got it, all of you? This structure is defined, already defined, and this defined structure file is a predefined structure in stdio.h. Now we need to create one file pointer of this file structure. Got all of you? Now, what is the use of this creating this file pointer? This will act as a mediator or a communication between your file and your program, because we are working with the program and we have our data available in the files. So the mediator between that one is file pointer, and any name can be given for this one, but it should be a pointer and it should be of type file. Right? Now, what is the meaning of this one? Whenever you are declaring like this, that means fptr is a file pointer. You can give any name, p1, p2, like that, anything. For your understanding, I have given fptr. Now, fptr is now a file pointer which is pointing to the first character of the file. Normally, what happens? Let us consider you have a text file like this. This is your text file you have created, and let us consider this text file is saved as ex.txt. Okay, you will be creating one file called ex.txt. That means open the notepad and save that one as ex.txt, and you can save whatever data you want to save, A, B, C, D. For simplicity, I am considering A, B, C, D, E. Now, whenever you are creating file f*fptr, and whenever you are trying to open this file, how to open this file, I'll tell you later. But if you are creating a file pointer, this file pointer will be pointing to the first character of your file. That means first character is nothing but starting address of your file. Right? Now we can access the data. Now after creating a file pointer, we can access the data of this file pointer, and the next character will be automatically adjusted to its next location. That will be automatically done. No need to perform any increment operation to point to the next location. While you are accessing this value, the file pointer will be automatically adjusted to the next location. How that will be done? Through the programs we'll be learning that one. But listen carefully, all of you, how it will be done. Okay, so before working with the file operations, you need to first create a file pointer like this. This is very important. Now, after creating a file pointer, now we need to start, we need to obviously create one file, and then we need to start our operations like opening and closing the file. So let us see the purpose. Now, why we need to open the file? We need to open the file because we may want to read the data from the file, or we want to write the data into the file. Now, we can to perform the open operation on the file, we can use a predefined function fopen, and it is already available in stdio.h. So to open a file, you need to use this predefined library function, which is fopen. Now, whenever you want to open use this fopen, the syntax will be like this. You need to use fopen. It will be taking two parameters. First parameter is the name of the file which you want to open, and the second parameter is the mode. What do you mean by the mode? I'll tell you. What do you mean by the mode? Mode is nothing but whether you want to perform a read operation or write operation or any other operation, you need to specify here. So, and then whenever you are creating whenever you are writing a syntax like this, then it should be stored in a pointer variable, and this pointer should be always declared like this: capital FILE, and okay, and then it should be of pointer PTR. You need to first declare like this, and then after declaring like this, you can write fopen function. And fopen function, if you are writing a statement like this, then the file will be opened automatically in the backend, and the PTR will be pointing to the first character of this file, whatever you have specified. Now let us consider this example. I have written fopen, and I want to open a program, that means one text file called new program.txt, and if it is not available in the same folder where your C program is available, then you need to view the complete path. But if the text file and the C program both are available in the same folder, then no need to view the complete path. But if they are available in two different folders, then you need to view the complete path where which file you want to open. So this is your file name. And the second one is mode. Mode will be always talking about the purpose of opening your file. That means whether you want get the data from the file, which is called as a read, or whether you want to put some data into the file, which is called as write, or if you want to add something to the already existing data, which is called as append. So normally we have these modes of operations. Write mode, write is nothing but it will create, whenever you write fopen file name comma write, if you write, then a new file will be created. Always remember, if you write fopen, okay, fopen, and within the brackets you need to provide two parameters, and the first parameter is file name, and the second parameter is the mode of the operation. And if the mode of the operation is W, let us consider, then what happens is it will create by default one file with the name, let us consider that file name is 1.txt, and then what happens, 1.txt will be created and it is ready to perform the write operation. That means we can write into that 1.txt. But if the file is already existing, if it is not existing, that is okay. But if the file is already existing and if you are trying to open the W mode, that is write mode, then whatever contents you have already existing in this 1.txt, that means here 1.txt, let us consider this one, if it is already existing and if you are trying to open in this W mode, then whatever contents you have in this one, that will be completely erased, and fresh file will be created, and in that it will be ready. It is ready for writing the data into that file. We have a second mode which is called as a read mode, and what is the use of this read mode is we need to get the contents from the file. In place of R we need W, we need to use R. Now, if the file is already existing, it will open that file in the backend and it is ready to get the contents from the file. But if the file is not existing, it will give a value of null. If it is not existing, that you need to do. Why? Because from the non-existing file, we can't get the data. So that's the reason whenever you are opening a file in the read mode, it will give you a null value if the file is not existing. That means if 1.txt is not available in your computer and still if you are trying to open the file in the read mode, you will be getting a null value stored in the point. And the second one is append mode. Append mode is nothing but, suppose in your file you have a text like this. You have a text 1, 2, 3. Now, if you're opening this 1.txt in the append mode, let us consider, then what happens is it is ready to add new contents. If you are opening an already existing data, then to the already existing file, to the already existing data, you can add some new data to the end of your file like this. Well, observe the difference between the append and the write. Both are used to write the data into the file only, but in the append mode, already existing data will not be erased. It will append a new file. But if the file is not existing, then a new file will be created like your write mode only. But if you are opening the already existing file using the write mode, this data will be erased and new data need to be written. But if you're opening using an append mode, then the data will not be erased. It will add the fresh data, it will add the fresh data to the end of the already existing data. That is called as append. Literal meaning of append is nothing but add new things to the already existing data. right? And we have the other mode that is called as W plus. So whenever you open, if you write fopen and write on the file name and in the mode of operation, if you write W plus, then what is the meaning of this one is perform write operation first and then perform the read operation. So it will perform both write and read. So first perform the write operation and then perform the read operation. Similarly, if you write R plus, what is the meaning of R plus is nothing but first to perform the read operation and then perform the write operation. See, all these things we will be learning through programs also. So don't get worried. So just learn here what are all the different modes of operation we have. And the last one mode is A plus. So what is the meaning of this A plus is we want to perform the append operation and then we need to perform the read operation. So combining two operations can be done by using these three, and these three will be doing a unique operation as the write operation or read operation or append operation. So these modes of operation are text files. Okay, now if you want to perform the operation on binary files, you can go with the same fopen. You need to write here a binary file, and the mode of operation will be like this. You need to add a B letter in after this every character. So WB stands for you want to perform write operation on a binary file. RB stands for you want to perform a read operation on a binary file. AB stands for you want to perform a append operation in a binary file. Similarly, WB plus, okay, just to make a difference, RB plus, and then final one is AB plus. Got it, all of you? So if you're working with a binary files, then you need to use these modes of operation, and if you're working with the text files, you need to use these modes of operation. But the syntax behind using of fopen is similar for both the things. Only difference is here it should be a text file in case of text files. Here it should be a binary files in case of binary file. The mode of operation depends upon if it is text file, these modes of operation, and if it is binary file, these modes of operation. Understood, all of you? So these are all the different modes of operation we have in our C programming language, and we have this function that is fopen function to open our file. I hope you all are clear with this fopen function. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can put it in the chat box. Okay, any doubts in this fopen function? So whenever a file is created or not created, before performing the operations or read or write, we need to first open the file, and while opening the file only we need to tell like in which mode of you want to open that file, and that can be done by writing the modes like this. Okay, so once you have written here, I am repeating once again, then if an already existing file is opened in the write mode, then the contents will be destroyed. That means the contents will be removed completely, and it will be creating the new file with the same name. So make sure whenever you are opening a file with the write mode, you should be more careful enough. Why? Because it will not give you any error. It will simply erase the contents in that file, and it is waiting to write the data into that file. But if already existing file is opened in the append mode, then the contents will not be lost, but the new information will be added to the existing data at the end. That is what you need to make a note of these things. Got it, all of you? If the already existing data is opened in the write mode, you all need to be careful, because without any alert or without any information to the user, it will simply destroy the data and it will create a new file with the same name. Right? So let us see some different examples to using different modes of operation. Let us not learn any C program now, because we are not performing any reading operation or writing operation. We just learned about how to open the file. So whenever you want to open any file in the read mode, you need to write fopen sample.txt and R, and it should be stored in a file pointer, any file pointer, and F should be declared as file star F. You need to write like this. Now, what is the meaning of this one is F is a file pointer of type file, and this file is defined in stdio.h header file. Okay, now if you are writing like this, then sample.txt will be opened in the backend, and it is ready to perform the read operation and the data. And if the data is already existing, if the data is not existing, I already told you it will give you a null value, because without existing file, we don't get any data from the file. Right now, the second example is fopen sample.txt write mode. If you are opening, then sample.txt will be created. If the file is not existing, then it is ready to write the data into that file. And if it is already existing, then what happens? It will erase the data and create a new file with the same name. Okay, now that is called as overwriting. Now you are familiar with how to open a file and how to use this fopen syntax. Now after opening the file, you need to perform some operations like reading operation or writing operation. That how can we do? I will tell you in the next lecture. Okay, but after doing all the operations, it is mandatory to close all the files. Now, whenever your work is done, you need to close the file, and that can be done by using a function called fclose. And within that, you need to send one parameter, that is your file pointer, whatever you are using. It closes your file. Suppose you have written like this. I'm writing here file. I have created file star f. Okay, and this file pointer will be. Let us consider this has opened the file fopen, and I am writing, let us consider 1.txt file will be created, and I have opened in the read mode. And after writing like this, I need to write some operations to perform the read operation. How to do these operations, that we'll see in the next lecture. But after your work is done, it is our responsibility to close this file also. Do you see, in your normal computer also, before after your work is done, you will be closing your file. The same fashion here also, if your read operation is done, it is your responsibility to close your file. Now, how to close that file? You need to write fclose. Okay, the function is fclose, and then within the parentheses, you need to tell the file pointer which is pointing to that file. What is the file pointer? In our example, it is f. You need to tell that file pointer. So whenever you write like this, then the file that is pointed by the f, what is the file that is pointed by the f? 1.txt will be closed. Got it all of you? Now we have one more also, which is called as fclose all. Now what is the use of this one is, let us consider you have one more, you have opened three files. One f is one file pointer pointing to 1.txt, f2 is pointing to, f1 is pointing to f2.txt, and f2 is pointing to 3.txt. Let us consider you have created three file pointers, f and star f1 and star f2. Let us consider like this. Now what happens if you want to close all these files? You need to individually write fclose of f close of f1, f close of f2, like that. Suppose if you have 100 files open, then you need to write 100 lines to close all these files. To reduce that work, instead of writing all the 100 lines, simply you can write, instead of these two lines, let us consider, you can write fclose all, and no need to specify any file pointer. It will close all the files that has been opened. So that is the use of this fclose all. So fclose all will close all the files open. So normally we'll be using this one only. Why? Because we don't want to have a track of how many files we have created and all. So after your complete program is written, the last statement obviously in our program, if you are working with files, will be fclose all. What it will do is it will close all the files whatever you have created. But in specific, if you want to close only a particular file, then you can go with this fclose, where you need to specify the file pointer that will be pointed by that file pointer. Understood? This is how fclose function can be used to close that file. So what are all the operations we need to do? First, we need to create the file, and then we need to create a file pointer using file star fp, and then we need to open the file using a fopen. And whenever you're opening the file, you need to specify the specific mode of operation like write, read, append, write plus, read plus, append plus. And after your work is done, you need to close your file using fclose function. Got all of you? So these are all this is about the introduction to our files. So in the next class, we'll be learning how to perform the read operation and write operation, like how can we get the contents from the file through our C program, and how can we write the data into the file using our C program. Okay, so those things we'll learn in the next class. I hope you all are clear with this introduction to the files concept, like what is the syntax of fopen and what is the syntax of close, right? So we'll continue in the next class.